walk you through the lead channel settings on the Boss Katana MKII Artist amp. This is the final part of a 4-video series that started with the clean channel, then moved on to the boost and drive channels. As before, if you're looking for system settings like global EQ, line-out configuration, or how to install the sneaky Twin Reverb amp, I recommend checking out the first video where that's all explained in detail. Here, we'll focus only on the lead channel and how it differs from the drive setup. Unlike the drive channel, which was still built around the Twin Reverb, the lead tone doesn't use a Fender-style bass anymore. The demo you're hearing in the background was recorded the same way as in all the previous videos. Gibson ES-335 into the Katana MKII Artist, mic'd with Shure SM57 and AT2035. No EQ or processing in Cubase. The full solo will be posted as a separate video soon, with tabs and notation. The signal chain for the lead channel is slightly different than before. While the drive preset used overdrive, compressor, amp EQ, and reverb, here I've added an extra FX block after the amp EQ, specifically for the slow gear effect, which I use only on the lead channel. This effect simulates a fade-in by softening the pick attack, and since I don't use it on the other channels, its position in those presets doesn't really matter. We're not focusing on that particular effect in this video, but that's the reason the signal chain is arranged differently here. As a general rule, modulation effects like delay, reverb, and slow gear should go after the amp block, while drive pedals, compressors, and boosters typically go before. Cabinet resonance remains set to vintage, but this time I've activated tone shape and set it to position 1. The global EQ is also enabled and set to the green preset, which I personally prefer over the yellow or red options. The reverb is still the vintage-style spring emulation to keep ambient character consistent. In addition to that, this is the first preset in the series where I've added delay. I'm using stereo delay here, and I've kept it subtle. Not something that stands out, just enough to add a touch of sustain. The delay time is set to 451 milliseconds, feedback at 37, high cut at 6.3 kHz, and effect level at 45. The direct mix is set to 100, so the dry guitar stays fully present. Now, unlike the previous presets, this one doesn't use the clean amp model. Instead, after months of testing, I decided to use the lead amp type, which is based on Marshall JCM style tones. It has more natural saturation and feels more like a classic tube lead tone. Because of this, I've made some notable changes to the EQ. I set the gain to 10, even though this amp is already fairly saturated at 0. Volume is at 85, similar to the drive preset. I pulled the bass down from 35 to 28 to clean up the low end a bit. The mids, which were at 65 in the drive setup, are now dropped to 40. This amp is already quite mid-heavy by default. Treble is also reduced significantly, from 65 to 20, to help control the high end. Instead of boosting it here, I shape it later using parametric and graphic EQ. To tame the top end and smooth out the overall tone, I made a few adjustments in the parametric EQ. The low cut is set to 80 Hz, and I've added a small +1 decibel boost to the lows. The high mids are slightly emphasized at +5 decibels, and the high cut is lowered from 5 kHz, as used in the drive preset, to 3.15 kHz, just to round off any harshness. I've also kept the GE-10 style graphic EQ in the amp out position. Since the lead amp model already has strong mids and upper presence, I didn't boost those areas. Instead, I made a couple of subtle cuts, one around 125 Hz to reduce muddiness, and one around 4 kHz to tame harshness without losing clarity. Then, I added a +4 decibel boost overall to bring the output level back up. As always, EQ stacking matters, and small moves can make a big impact. Try adjusting things one stage at a time, and trust your ears. In the Mode section, I'm still using the Boss Comp model, but with slightly more aggressive settings compared to the previous channels. Sustain is raised to 40, and attack to 35. Tone is boosted to +20 to bring out a bit more clarity. The level stays at 50. This compressor setup helps add sustain and consistency without choking the dynamics. It's there to simulate tube amp compression, not to flatten everything out. Since the amp model itself is already providing plenty of gain, I didn't use natural OD this time. Instead, I switched to a clean boost, which adds headroom and just a bit of tonal lift without saturating the signal further. I've set the drive to 0, just to keep it clean. Tone is set to +10 to brighten the top end slightly, and the bottom is cut to -3 to clean up the low mids. The effect level is at 80, high enough to lift the overall output and make this preset match the others in volume. The idea here is still the same, to make sure there's a smooth transition from clean to boost to drive to lead, without big jumps in gain, tone, or level. And that's it. If you're dialing in a lead tone on the Katana MKII Artist, my advice is to start with the lead or brown amp types, rather than trying to crank too much gain into the clean model. This wraps up the 4-part series on all 4 custom presets I use. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to explore specific effects, sneaky amp variants, or tone stack ideas in future videos. Thanks for watching. And if this helped you out, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.